Spring is here in the subtropics and she's coming hot and dry. And if you're like me here in the South East Queensland, you might be itching to plant out your spring garden. But the soil and sun and skies all say, hold your horses. Today, I want to share with you a spring planting guide that doesn't just tell you what to grow, but also when and why timing matters. In permaculture, we don't fight nature. We observe and work with her. And right now, with the ground bone dry and the rains yet to arrive, the smartest planting you can do is planning, preparing, and protecting your water resources. Let's walk through now how to set yourself up so when the seasonal rains arrive, your garden will be ready to explode into life. One of the hardest lessons for new gardeners in the subtropics is that spring doesn't always mean plant straight away. In fact, rushing can mean failure. Seeds dry out before they germinate, transplants struggle under heat stress, and water bills skyrocket as we fight to keep things alive. This is why observation is the first step. Look at the soil. Is it soft and holding moisture, or hard and cracking? Check your local rain charts. In South East Queensland, we often get the first real downpour late spring or early summer. Planting just before or with the rains means your seedlings get water security from the sky itself. So right now, I'm holding off on the big planting push. So, no tomatoes, no watermelons, no heavy feeders, until nature lends me a hand. Instead, I'm prepping the soil, harvesting grey water and laying down mulch so I can lock in whatever moisture I can. Here in the subtropics, water is life. In a dry spring, it's the difference between a thriving garden and bare beds. Before we even think about planting, we've got to get clever about how we use, save, and store every drop. Mulch is the gardener's blanket. A good 5 to 10 centimetre layer reduces evaporation, keeps soil cooler, and when the rains finally come, it slows runoff so water actually soaks in. Use whatever you got, sugarcane mulch, lawn clippings, or even rough sticks and palm fronds until you get better cover crops growing. In permaculture, we value every resource. Grey water from washing veggies or even your shower warm-up water can keep trees and hardy perennials alive while you wait for seasonal rain. Just avoid harsh detergents and aim grey water at ornamentals or established fruit trees, not tender seedlings. Forget the sprinkler, it just wastes water. Instead, drip lines, oyas, and a simple watering can placed directly at the roots will give the plant the soaking it needs, without losing it all to evaporation. Think slow and deep, not fast and shallow. Until the rains soften the season, the sun here can be brutal. A bit of shade cloth, even just 30%, can protect seedlings from heat stress. In the Shire, they might grow under the shelter of a great oak, but here we improvise with cloth, fronds, or even old hessian sacks. It makes all the difference. Finally, think like a water harvesting hobbit. Swales, basins, and small contour trenches guide what little rain does fall into the soil, instead of rushing away. Even in dry springs, you can dig basins around fruit trees, line them with mulch, and catch every drop you add, so it soaks down instead of evaporating. Once water is under control, we can turn our attention to the soil. Because even if the skies opened up tomorrow, without healthy soil structure and organic matter, that water would just run straight off. So let's look at how to prepare the ground now, so it's ready when the rain arrives.
Water may be life, but the soil is the body it lives in. A dry spring is the perfect chance to prepare the soil, so when the rains arrive, your garden is ready to leap into action.
Healthy soil is a sponge. The more organic matter it has, the better it holds on to precious water. Now's the time to add compost, worm castings, or aged manures. Even if you're not planting straight away, these amendments will break down, feed the microbes, and build fertility in time for the rains. Don't leave bare soil exposed to the sun. It bakes like a clay pot. Once you've added your organics, tuck them in under a thick mulch layer. This slows evaporation, protects microbes, and creates the perfect condition for soil fungi and bacteria to thrive while you wait.
If the ground's too dry to plant now, think of it like this. You're going to be charging a battery. By adding compost, mulch and water, you're priming the beds. And the moment the seasonal rains hit, you can slip those seedlings straight in.
Permaculture sees cover crops as our green allies, fixing nitrogen, shading soil, and building biomass. If it's too dry to sow now, you can keep the seeds on hand for the first decent rain. Even fast growers like mung beans, millet, or buckwheat can protect and condition the soil before your main crop goes in.
I don't have the conditions right at the moment to do a cover crop, so once the rain hits, that's the first thing I'll be doing. So I'll let the mulching and the composting do the heavy lifting at the moment.
Another job while waiting for the rains is testing your drainage. In heavy clays, water can pool around roots, so raised beds or mounds may be the better option for young fruit trees and annuals. A simple soak test can save you headaches later on. If you look up percolation test, you'll find more information on this.
With our soil primed and tucked under the mulch, our next question is, what do we plant and when? In the subtropics, timing is everything. So let's talk about choosing crops that thrive with the rhythms of the rain. In the subtropics, spring planting is a balancing act. Too early and your seedlings will fry and dry out, and too late, you'll miss the opportunity of the first flush of growth after the rain. Timing is the gardener's secret weapon.
Once the rains arrive and the soil temperature's warm, it's time to plant your heavy feeders and sprawling crops. Pumpkins, melons, tomatoes, corns and beans love that early summer moisture and warmth. These crops will fill your garden with abundance, but only if they get a head start when the conditions are right.
These are your ground huggers and climbers. They'll shade your soil, protect moisture, and feed you all the way through summer.
In spring, sweet potatoes and some potatoes are the main root crops to focus on in the subtropics. Potatoes can go into well-mulched beds where the soil is still cooler and moist, while sweet potatoes thrive as the heat builds, spreading as a ground cover while filling the soil with tubers. Get your potatoes in early though, they truly don't like the summer heat.
Think potatoes as your quick return crop, and your sweet potato as your long haul staple through summer.
Don't forget your herbs and leafy greens. Heat lovers like basil, lemongrass, rosella, silver beet and subtropical spinach varieties thrive once things heat up. They not only flavour your meals, but they also fill ecological niches in your food forest.
And greens don't have to be lettuce. In the subtropics, Malabar spinach, cane Kong, silver beet, and even sweet potato leaves are far better greens as they survive the heat better.
In this climate, planting isn't tied to a date on the calendar, it's tied to the rains. Holding back until your soil is moist and ready is the smartest move. Seeds and seedlings need steady moisture to germinate. A single dry spell can undo weeks of work. So, if you're waiting like I am, keep your seedlings safe in trays or pots. That way, when the skies finally open, you'll have plants primed and ready to go straight into the ground. I don't plant everything at once. Stagger your sowing, a week or two apart. This way, if the first lot struggles, the second or third planting will succeed. It's like spreading your bets with nature.
Of course, timing and crop choices mean little without water. And in the subtropical spring, managing every drop is critical. Let's look at how to keep your garden thriving through the heat and the dry spell. In the subtropics, spring can be brutal. Hot, dry, and you can be waiting weeks for rain. If you don't plan for water, your seedlings don't stand a chance. But with a few permaculture tricks, you can stretch every drop further than you'd imagine.
Now I know what you're going to say. Gazza, you're always talking about mulch. But if you think about it, mulch is your shield. A thick layer of organic matter, barley straw, sorghum mulch, hay, even old leaves, locks moisture into the soil, keeps temperature steady, and feeds soil life. Bare soil in the subtropics is a recipe for disaster.
Think of mulch as your garden sunscreen. Without it, your soil will burn, your water will evaporate, and your plants will suffer.
Permaculture design always starts with water. Roof catchment to tanks, swales to spread and sink rain, and small ponds where possible. These create a water bank for dry times. Even a modest tank can keep seedlings alive when the skies stay stubbornly blue.
Instead of thinking how to bring more water in, design your garden to keep what it gets.
Overhead watering wastes precious water to evaporation. Drip lines under mulch delivers water straight to the roots. For small gardens, even a simple recycled bottle with holes can create a slow release system.
In a pinch, I'll only water the youngest or thirstiest plants. And mature plants, they can fend for themselves with mulch and deep roots.
Water management isn't just about tanks and hoses. It's also about design. Temporary shade cloth, climbing crops trained to cast shade, and planting in protected microclimates all reduce how much water your garden demands.
Sometimes it's not about adding water, it's about stopping your plants from losing it in the first place.
Timing matters. Early morning watering reduces evaporation and gives plants a head start before the day's heat. Avoid watering in the middle of the day. It's wasteful and the soil dries out before the roots can use it. Water management in permaculture isn't about constant firefighting. It's about design for resilience. Every choice, from mulch to swales to crop placement, adds another layer of security. Together, they create a system that doesn't just survive spring, but thrives into summer.
So don't think of water just as a resource. Think of it as a design partner. Work with it, and even in the dry times, your garden will reward you. Now we've prepared the soil, chosen our crops, and sorted out our water plan. Now comes the fun part, planting. Let's get these seedlings into the ground and bring the garden to life. All right, enough theory. Time to get our hands in the soil. Spring planting isn't just about what you plant. It's how you go about doing it so that you give your young seedlings the best chance they have in this dry, hot spell.
We've already prepped the soil with compost and mulch, and we've got our water plan sorted. That means these little seedlings won't go into shock the moment they hit the ground.
Three ethics for the growers neath the sky so bright and high. Earth care and people care with a fair share that won't die. 7 tiers of forest garden where the canopy is deep. The rhizosphere.
Lettuces and Asian greens are perfect right now, as long as you give them shade and water. I tuck them in nice and snug, cover their roots with soil, and then give them plenty of water.
To observe and catch the energy, bringing forth the joy.
Mulch right up to the stem, but don't smother it. That mulch is their shield against the subtropical sun.
Flowing water slows to bind the life of soil and ensure the garden grows.
Sweet potatoes are fantastic for spring. They love the heat, they sprawl, they shade the soil, plus you get tubers and the leaves you can eat. What more do you want?
Mulch to feed the soil and in the system to bind them in the gardens where the green.
Potatoes will also do fine in spring here. Just keep them mulched so the soil stays cool and moist. Silver beet is tough as old boots, a reliable green when lettuce bolts. Basil too thrives in the heat, and pairs beautifully with tomatoes once they start fruiting.
To bind the life of soil and ensure the garden grows.
I always like sneaking in a few herbs. They're small, but they add value in pest control and just for your kitchen.
One garden to grow them all. In every corner hear the nature's call. Even the smallest patch can change the world. With hands in the soil, let the dreams unfurl. Gazza laughed aloud, come take a look.
Companion planting is about teamwork. Marigolds deter nematodes, basil helps tomatoes, and you got your legumes like your beans that help fix nitrogen. And they're all really good companion plants. It's like building a community, not just crops.
Let them understand, growing together, united we'll stand. One garden to grow them all. In every corner hear the nature's call.
Every planting ends with a good soak. After that, it's all about checking daily for the first week. Hot days can dry out seedlings fast. Shade cloth, extra mulch, or even temporary covers can mean the difference between success and failure.
And that's it. With a little preparation, smart timing, and some permaculture principles, your spring garden will be thriving. Now, sit back and relax. Well, you can't, not really. You still got to tend to these babies as the season unfolds. So, let's put it all together. Building a spring garden in the subtropics isn't just about throwing seeds in the ground and hoping for the best.
We started with the big picture, understanding the tropical spring, hot and dry before the rains. Then we prepared the soil, adding compost, mulch, and getting the ground ready. We chose the right crops for the season: leafy greens, sweet potato, silver beet, herbs, and companions like marigolds and beans. And of course, we looked at water management, the lifeline for every seedling in this climate. Finally, we got hands-on with the planting demonstration, tucking those seedlings in, mulching them well, and watering deeply to give them the strongest start.
And that's the heart of spring planting in the subtropical garden. Prepare well, choose wisely, water smartly, and plant with care. And your garden will thank you with abundance. If this gave you some idea for your garden, hit that like button, share with a friend who's planting this spring, and subscribe to follow along. Drop a comment below and let me know what you're planting this season in your Middle Earth. I'd love to hear your plans.